Hi everyone, my name is Wayne Jones. I'm the University Librarian here at Carleton. We're here for another installment of Tell Me About Yourself with Susan Tudin, who's a subject specialist in environmental studies, geography, and history in research support services. So we're saying that you've been not in those with those subject areas, but you've been there for
I've been at the library for 30 years.
30 years coming up.
Yeah, coming up. It started as Reader Services.
Reader
It's a
Services.
very British name.
Yes.
I think undergraduates are called readers
Yes,
in the UK.
that's right.
And then it changed it. No, it changed to Reference Services sometime in the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
And then just recently Research Support Services, which doesn't exactly flow off the tongue as easily as...
It doesn't, but it's a little more indicative. Reference, in my reference for me has a little bit of an oldie sound about it.
It does, and I'm glad of the name change. And I think Research Support Services is really what we do.
Right.
Because that's what we're doing.
Right. Tell me that then. Tell me how you support research. Like what are some duties that you do?
Many different things. Right now, because it's September and October, we're involved with instruction with faculty members, and so we're asked to do a lot of information literacy sessions. Sometimes to small classes, like maybe 12, but sometimes to very large groups. I'll be filmed for one. There are 400 students in the class, and it'll take place in the Stacy building, where 170 students will be in front of me, but the rest of them are online students
Right.
who never come to the university. So that's a little daunting, being taped that way, but that's certainly things that we're doing with respect to helping students get started. With respect to more high-level research, we do a lot of interviewing of graduate students, the master's and the PhD candidates coming in who have to write their comps, and we meet them in our offices and answer a whole lot of questions and help them get started with their research.
Go to their offices?
I know they come to ours,
Yeah.
and we're helping them with research, doing literature reviews, for example.
Right.
Sometimes systematic literature reviews, different types of literature
Right.
reviews. And then the faculty, they're always asking us to order books or find something for them. So there's always those demands on our time as well. So that's what we're doing right now. It's less doing the collection part,
Great.
which I kind of have time to do late November, December, January, when things settle down. But in the fall, it's very busy.
I'm curious about because actually I don't know the details of this, where you're seeing the meetings with the grad students about their lit review or systematic lit review. There must be a place where obviously you're not doing it for them kind of thing. So it's a teaching thing, or do they come in not knowing like where to start at all?
A lot of them don't know where to start at all and don't really know what a literature review is. So they're kind of thinking that it should end up being a paper, and like you have to explain the steps that are involved in a literature review. And I'm lucky enough to work with a team of people where we got together and we created a session with the faculty of graduate affairs, and we set up a thesis jumpstart program last year.
Right.
And my part was to deliver how to do a literature review with Alex Blake, and then after that, Mark and myself and Alex, we presented on a paper at the CAPL, the Canadian Association of Public Academic or Professional Academic Librarians, and so that was an experience as well. But yeah, I love working with the graduate students. I mean, they're very high level, but they still need quite a lot of hand holding. And no, you're not doing your thick research, but you are showing the pathways into the research. And also, they're very weak on theory, I find a lot of them. So because you're dealing with the subject all the time, you get to know who the main theorists are, and you can help guide them to those theorists.
Even at the PhD level?
A little less
Yeah.
PhD, but they have to know theorists outside of maybe their area of expertise.
Right.
And and for the comprehensive examinations, of course, they'll have to know a group of theorists. So yes, it's demanding and it's really interesting, but it's time consuming.
You know, I can imagine it is, because obviously, or I presume, let's say for a PhD student, they would know their in-depths about whatever, say, linguistics thing they were doing. They would know the subject area. They'd know probably very niche
Well,
things
they
about
do.
it.
They do.
But about how you put it all together and doing your lit review and all that stuff, the sort of the infrastructure or whatever.
That's right, and we're very fortunate to have really good people on staff who know a lot about NVivo. And NVivo is sort of a newer thing that's come along to keep track of all of the citations and all the different things that you can do with NVivo. And certainly there's a lot of demand for that now. Now, I'm not part of that team, but because I felt like I didn't really have a project to learn the mechanics of NVivo myself, so I decided to, maybe it's not for me, but I certainly know when a student needs to be directed to those experts that we have on staff.
I'm curious about two things about undergrad students. One is just generally what work you do with them. And is that cyclical? Like, is that very basic level stuff? Like, what kinds of things would you be doing with an undergrad student?
Well, with the subjects that I deal with, I'm very embedded with geography and environmental studies. Have been doing that for 30 years. Geography's always been my subject. And when they started the first year seminar courses, which would be about 10 years ago, I see the intake of all of the first year students, first year seminar students in geography. So it's very intensive in that I'm invited into the classroom 3 or 4 times for 3 hours at a time throughout the year, the academic year.
Right.
So I'm able to develop information literacy exercises and research strategies and all kinds of things that we can do with them to get them excited about learning about research and scholarship as a conversation and introducing them to scholarship in that way.
Yeah.
So the framework has been, the new ACRO framework has been very helpful in giving me a foundation to promote that, especially with the faculty.
And I presume with the undergrad students, you're always dealing with the groups. You're talking about going into the classroom. Generally speaking, apart from at the desk, you don't have office visits with undergrads.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yes,
Lots.
you do?
Oh, yes.
Yes,
They
okay.
come and ask lots of questions. But they're a little bit afraid in first and second year. They're kind of like they need to be encouraged, some of them. Not all of them. So you do tend to see fourth year and the grad students on them more often, more regularly, but the undergrad students seek us out as well. And so yes, I do see undergraduate students. And sometimes faculty members will give the students marks if they even just make an appointment to come and see us. That it'll be 2 or 3% of their marks if they make an appointment and we sit down together, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes. So that's how important the faculty feel that the students should make a connection with us.
The reason I make that false assumption, I guess, about the undergrad students is that if they were all coming, which obviously they are not, it'd be completely unsustainable.
Yes.
And we'd need a staff of 700 here.
Yes, that's right. And we've moved a lot of our instruction online as a result, and I've been involved with creating videos with staff, like our own staff, but also EDC has helped us a lot in that regard. And so, for example, writing the research paper video that I made about 3 years ago has had about 11,000 hits on YouTube.
Right.
And also writing an annotated bibliography. So these are things that everyone can benefit from, but particularly the undergraduate students.
Right.
So moving instruction to online is, and sort of embracing new technology is the way to go. And if we want to meet the demands of a population of about 27,000 students.
Sure. Speaking of online, I'm curious, have you ever worked with a faculty member who was doing either a wholly online course, I'm not talking about the just taping or a hybrid course?
No, I have not, but other staff members I work with have. So that's kind of new for
Yeah.
Carleton. We're getting into it more, I think,
Yeah.
than other universities are ahead of us in that regard.
Yeah, not only ahead of us, not only ahead of the library here, but ahead of the university. Where Carleton, even as a university, is a little.
Yes, we're catching up,
Yeah.
but yeah, I haven't felt it yet, so
Yeah.
I haven't been involved in one yet. But I expect to be because I've now taken over history, and I think there are some online courses in history.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. I'll find out.
That'd be different. Yeah,
I'm
well,
going to
obviously-
my first staff meeting, faculty staff meeting on Friday
Oh, okay.
with
Good
the
luck.
history department. Thank you.
Break away.
I don't know what they're going to ask.
Or whatever. No, they say that only in theater. But actually, my other question, getting back to the undergrad students, I want to finish that off. You've seen 30 years of undergrad students now.
Mhm.
I'm curious about, I don't know really what. I'm curious about in general how different they felt back in whatever 1988. Like, how were they more interested? Like, are they now? I don't want to necessarily go to the cliches about the phone and the inattention and all that sort of thing. But do they? Does it feel like the same group of people, or does it feel like a whole different set of humanity kind of thing compared to 30 years ago?
Well, there's still the same enthusiasm that they come with. The makeup of the population is different. We have far more international students.
Right.
So I'm not seeing myself in the groups of students that are coming through, if you know what I mean. They still all seem to need the same kind of help.
Yeah.
They might need a little bit more hand-holding because it's difficult for them to remove themselves from that online world, and it was easier in the paper world to explain the differences in paper, a
Right.
book versus a journal article. You
Right.
could physically show these things. This is what is a little bit more difficult and more problematic because everything is online. So that is the challenge.
Yeah.
If some of them come a little unprepared and maybe at 17 years of age they lack maturity.
Interesting.
So that's something that I noticed that they are less mature.
Than 30 years ago?
Yes, because they would have been 18 or 19 because
Right.
of the grade 13.
Right.
And so now they're as young as 17.
17, yeah.
So there's a bit of that. And now I have parents coming to the reference desk, the research help desk. Sometimes a parent will sit down with a student and they're asking a research question, but their mom is sitting beside them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that
It doesn't happen very often, but it has happened.
my theory would be, I guess I'd have two theories. One would be the student is so nervous or ignorant in the sense of not aware of the subject that they don't even know where to start. So maybe mom can help a bit there.
Maybe.
Or that the mother can see that, and so they know that they'll never, they know the value of a library, and they'll go for that
There's
reason.
that. Plus, it might be a new city for them, and the parent is here as they get adjusted to their new surroundings. I mean,
Yeah.
it just happened last week, so I mean,
That's amazing.
I'm not going to. I didn't try to probe.
No, of course.
But so that never would have happened. Helicopter parents, that term didn't exist back in 1988.
That's right.
And, certainly not in the 70s when I went to university.
I find that amazing. I mean, when I went to university, it was in the 1970s and 80s. I can't even imagine that doing that happening. It's just crazy.
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
So before I want to touch a little bit. We might come back to Carleton, but before you mentioned also about working as an executive assistant or a special
Yes.
assistant to.
I was just the administrative assistant to the chief librarian at the University of Waterloo for
Right.
3 years.
Yeah.
I worked there 5 years full-time.
Right.
I was in their government publications department before it was dismantled.
It's dismantled.
Yes, so they did that long before we ever did
Wow.
even thought about doing stuff
Well,
like
what
that.
year was this, or what decade was this?
I started in 1979 and I left in 1984.
Okay.
So I became the admin assistant in 1981.
Still obviously a paper-based society.
Completely
No
paper-based. Except at Waterloo, computing was very big.
Yep.
And a huge mainframe on campus called the Red Room in the Math and Computer Building, which is very famous. And the computer, of course, took up the entire room
Right.
back then. But yeah, in 1982, the systems librarian was the first person to get a personal computer on her desk.
Wow.
And my office was right beside hers.
That's
So it was a
amazing.
big deal.
Personal computer.
Yes.
That's something. I can
Yes.
just imagine what they
Again.
look like. Yeah. Probably green letters on a black screen.
Yeah, yes.
Right,
Yes,
right,
that's
right.
right. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Anyway, it was fun, it was challenging, and I had a lot of duties
Yeah.
in that particular job.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
I handled all communications for the library
Yep. Yeah.
and
right.
the publishing.
Right, and obviously just the very fact of assisting someone who's has a busy schedule and that sort of thing.
Yep.
is
Yep, you just have to be on all the time.
Yep. Yep.
That's pretty much it.
And people think of you as a focal point, right? They will be talking to you about either trying to get meetings or whatever it might be.
Yes, well, his secretary did a lot of the meetings.
Secretary.
Yeah, because at that time, there were secretaries. And
Right.
yeah, there was a division of labor there. So she would have handled setting up all of those meetings.
Right.
But not the high level meetings where you're having guests come in. For example, we had Margaret Atwood come in and sign a first edition, and I had to arrange for that and arrange for a photographer.
Did you meet her?
Yes,
Huh?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, back 30 years ago. Margaret, yeah, she would have been. I mean, it seems like she's always been at the
Pretty
apex of her
iconic.
career, right? She's not really had a slow point.
No, but in the 70s when I was in high school, we had Margaret Atwood on our reading list. So,
Yeah.
so she, I guess, got started in the late 60s.
Yep, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Was that your first job?
No, my first job was in the circulation department at Waterloo. Before that, before I even came to university, I worked for the RCMP for a year here in Ottawa. And they gave me computer training. I went to a course, Computer Fundamentals, and when the folks at Waterloo found out I had that training, they were just bringing in the online system and barcoding all their books. And so they snapped me up, and
Right,
I was able to train some of their staff.
right. And when you came to Carleton, when you eventually came to Carleton, again, you mentioned about the different subject areas, but you've always been the subject specialist. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have some other job
Nope.
in some other department?
Nope,
or something
I've always
like that?
been in the same job. It's had slightly different titles, but I've always been in the same job.
Yeah.
Not the same subject responsibilities, although I had geography from the get-go, but I did English literature when
Yeah.
I came with geography.
If you-
I was replacing a librarian who was on sabbatical.
Right, right.
No, maternity leave, sorry. Ingrid Trier.
Right. Oh, Ingrid, oh wow.
Yes.
Funny how things work, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. That was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
I felt like a little fish out of water, though, when it came to English literature, because really I'd only completed one English literature course at university, so
Right.
whereas geography I have a lot more under my belt.
You just had to build on that Margaret Atwood experience.
Yes,
To tell
right.
people that, then you're good then.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, anyway. Yeah.
So in a couple of weeks, I'm going to a breakfast actually where you're getting an award,
Yes,
a teaching support award. I can't remember the wording.
It's, I can't remember the exact wording either. but-
Excellence in teaching support or something
Yes.
like that.
Learning support, I
Yeah,
think it's
right.
learning, I think the word is learning. But it's intended to recognize people who are not part of the faculty, who significantly contribute to the student learning experience.
Yeah.
And who are able to collaborate with others and who are innovative and willing to push that envelope and contribute to the university as a whole. So it was quite a process to apply for this award.
But it must have been a cool thing to get it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was really surprised.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of support too from the faculty and my colleagues, Martha and Alex and Patty,
Yeah.
and everyone who I work with. So they were really supportive of me applying for this award, and I'm very, very pleased to get it. So.
It's nice to get it around your 30-year mark as
Yes,
well, right?
yes, yes, but I'm not ready to retire yet.
I'd never implied so. But during your speech for your award, you can say, finally, after here for 30 years,
Yeah.
finally.
Well, it's really, it's a recognition of the stuff that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah.
And teaching is what I'm passionate about. And communicating with the students and working with the faculty. And the faculty have been so wonderful letting me in.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of them approached me to write a journal article with her, and I published it in a peer-reviewed journal.
Yep.
And that was an honor to do that.
Nice.
And that is used every year as a required reading for graduate students in geography. So I'm you know, pleased about that. And that's part of my portfolio with respect to this award. Working with the EDC folks and getting an embedded link for our course and subject guides, so that when you get designer privileges on CU Learn, if the faculty member approves of that, our course guides and subject guides are visually available in CU Learn right there for the students.
Right.
So that is that's a form of collaboration and advancing the growth and the integration of the academy.
Yeah, nice to put that on board too. So congrats on the award. I look forward to the breakfast.
Yeah, me too.
Congrats on 30
Oh,
years.
thank you very much.
And thanks for doing the interview. This is
Okay,
great.
not a problem.
Thank
Yes,
you.
My pleasure.